Weight loss, a story of enormous personal gain. Hello everybody, welcome. I have got a very special guest here today, Jessica. Hello.
Hello.
And we've just been discussing that I'm terrible with names, because I am. But I've got it, Jessica Reinbott.
You got it.
I got it.
Let's go.
It's actually not a very complicated name.
No, but that's okay.
It's not just me.
No,
No,
it's definitely not you.
You were saying you've got another nickname?
Yeah, Rabbit.
Rabbit.
Jessica.
See, that's cute.
Because no one can read my last name or can say it.
I just did.
I know.
There you go. Points.
Absolutely.
Golden star.
2.
Straight
off the bat.
Oh, okay, everyone. Well, welcome. We are on Signpost for Living with Dr. Kirsten Hunter, and I'm a clinical psychologist, 20 years, working with children, adolescents, adults, couples, across all clinical areas. And basically, we're here picking a topic that's related to psychology that everyone in the public can, well, many people can relate to. And today, we're talking about Jess's personal experience with weight loss, and I don't know anything yet, which I love. I've no idea what we're going to talk about, and I really like not being prepared.
That's good.
Yeah.
Me either, really.
I like spontaneity.
Me too.
Yeah. Because can I say, everyone listening, that Jess is sitting across from me and she's a lean bean. You know, she's a sporty lean bean. So she's walked in and said, we're talking about weight loss, and I've thought to myself, I believe you. I don't see any evidence of that.
Okay.
Well, I guess that's the point, right?
We're going to tell the story.
We are going to tell the story. So let's get a bit of background first of all. What's your, if you don't mind, straight up, your age and your family, and where do you work?
Sure. I'm 36 and I've got 2 children. They are 8 and 5. A
Keep
little
you
boy
busy?
and a little girl. They keep me very busy, and a husband as well who keeps me busy as well. And I work as an occupational therapist, and I'm also now I'm a personal trainer as well.
There you go.
Yeah. That came along as part of the journey.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, something I never saw myself doing, and now I can't not see myself doing.
And in OT, what kind of area do you work in?
Mainly work in an acute medical unit,
Right.
And a little bit of an emergency department, mainly with older people.
There you go.
I've been doing that for 13 years now, mainly worked with adults.
And so this is very much about physical movement, physical capacity.
Absolutely, and engaging in things that you need to do in the daytime or nighttime as well, any time of day in your life, but also engaging with things that you enjoy doing and how to do that despite illness, disability, or things that set you back.
So we're doing a little promo on being an OT.
Absolutely. OT week's in October, so if you want me back then,
There you go.
I'll come and talk all things OT then.
All right. Now, tell me, I do like that I don't know where we're going with this. Tell me, where do you want to start? So we're talking about your personal experience with weight loss, and I'd really love to know, obviously, broad sweeps with time frame and stuff, but also what was happening for you prior. What kind of was the catalyst for change, and where your head was? I'm interested in the headspace.
Absolutely. Well, most of my life I've been overweight, but also quite sporty. So I've played a lot of sport at school. Always enjoyed movement, and know that my physical health as well as my mental health require me to move and to do exercise.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm alone there. I think a lot of people would probably agree. I think somewhere along the line, I was quite successful at work. I knew what I was doing. I was in control. And then I had my first child.
Yeah.
So 8 and a bit years ago. And I don't know what happened. I just kind of almost regressed. It's happened a few times in my life, if I'm honest. I've always been a little bit different. A little bit out there. I think a lot of people might, again, see themselves that way. I don't know, but I've always been a bit different. And often throughout my life, I've sort of almost been told to tone it down a little bit and regress back into a shell.
That's appalling.
It's a bit sad.
That's ridiculous. I mean, you should be your vivacious self. That should be celebrated.
Well,
we're not trying to be beige in life.
Well, it took me about 30 years to learn that. But I've learnt it now.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah, so I feel I've still got a lot of life to live with these learnings.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you say you regressed, you were talking within yourself. You're talking about your headspace.
Yes, yeah.
So you got into a bit of a dark place.
Yeah, tone it down, scale it back, stop making other people feel bad about themselves because you're trying to... Actually, I'm not even trying. I'm just being me.
So are you saying you're a bit of a high achiever?
I'm definitely competitive and a high achiever. But just like I'm quite happy. I'm bouncy, rabbit. It kind of fits in with that.
Energetic bunny.
Smiling, and that's just quite natural. That's just how I am as a general state of being.
Which is the goal for most people.
Absolutely.
You know.
And just enjoy life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
so you, 28-ish at this point, just had babe number 1.
Yes, yeah, and 28, 29, something like that.
Cool.
Yep.
And you went through a bit of a dark space in your mental health.
Absolutely. I was postnatally depressed.
Right.
Also had a few medical things going on with thyroids and things, which they worked out a little while down the track. But for me, I think it was just losing all control, and not knowing what to do with a baby, and maybe not having a support system that I thought I had with friends and things like that. My family don't live here. Yeah. I had quite a lot of friends. We'd all had kids at different points.
So it's a massive life change, enormous adjustment.
Absolutely. And the more I speak to people, the more they all go, oh, I felt the same way.
Yeah.
You know, I go from being quite successful at work and controlling my schedule and my routine. Like I could get up and go to the gym at 5 in the morning. I could go at 7 at night if I wanted. I could eat dinner. I could not eat dinner. To having a little person that depended on me and who I loved dearly, but just that struggle of, am I doing my best? Am I doing what's right? Actually don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing. Well, but everyone tells me I'm doing it okay, so...
Yeah, all that uncertainty when you were used to a lot of certainty, a lot of control.
And used to being good and knowing that I was good at what I did.
Yeah.
And I quite like that. I think that makes me comfortable.
Yeah.
Equally, I like to push myself to be better, but I knew that I was good at work. I knew that I was doing, quite well as a 28-year-old. And then, this little person came along and changed everything for the better. But for me, it was tough, and I stopped moving. Actually, I would go walking and things like that, go and get outside because I knew my head needed it. But I just turned to food and turned to cutting off all my social connections, stayed at home.
It's interesting, isn't it, when we're in a dark place, people are just too much effort. They're overwhelming, we're not confident with them, we're not confident in ourselves. We just want to curl up under a rock, under a tree and hide.
Just pretend like it's not all happening.
Yeah.
But you can't really do that with a baby.
No, you can't.
Because they need a lot of things. So I suppose I then kind of went, well, I need to be a mum and I need to be a good mum. So I completely threw myself into being a mum and actually didn't even really know myself. I wasn't smiling a great deal. I wasn't bouncing around. I certainly had no energy.
So you really lost yourself there.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Nothing that I used to like gave me any joy anymore.
Yeah.
And I didn't really feel that I had the ability to go out and find new things that maybe could bring me joy. So I used to walk around with my stroller and my baby and
And when you say you turn to food, so I'm guessing comfort eating?
Absolutely.
What would that look like?
Oh, that would be a packet of biscuits a night throughout the night.
Yep.
Just terrible food choices. And I blamed it on not having time.
Yeah.
I don't have time to cook a good meal. I don't have time to go grocery shopping. I don't have time. I'm too busy being a mum.
Yeah.
That actually probably wasn't true.
Well, the truth is you would know this, that when we're distressed and we eat, we actually dissociate. We're putting food in our mouth and we are tuning out from our headspace and what we're distressed about. So there we are in this whirlwind of negativity or anxiety, and then it's a pause button and we eat, and we need to keep eating to keep that pause button going.
Absolutely.
And that's binge eating.
That's
That's
exactly what it was.
Yeah. And so that's why we keep eating. And we also don't notice what we're eating, the taste of it, nothing. We're literally tuned out. And it's a coping mechanism. And the reason why we do it is because it works. And that's the problem. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then we stop eating and then we feel horrible because, usually we could potentially feel unwell in our stomach, but we're not really happy with what we've just done. We know it's not a good coping mechanism. We know we've just overeaten, and so then that's going to spiral our mood further. So it's a really, really tricky negative kind of spiral.
It was, and one that continued well into my second child as well.
Right.
So
2 years age gap?
Yeah, 2.5.
2.5,
yeah. At some point I had decided that I needed to go out and socially connect and things. So I found a mother's group, and I'd made a bit of progress in what I thought was a good support system.
Yeah.
So probably for when my daughter was born, I had that social connection. I had people I could talk to. I had that support.
Yeah.
But again, just was in this routine of eating, and I'm a health professional. Like, if anyone should know what the right thing to do is, it should be me.
Well, it's not really about not knowing right food and wrong food and needing exercise.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So I often stop and think, even when I'm training people now, I think, how hard is it when you don't have all that information? But as you say, it's maybe not about having the information. No. It's about everything else that's going on.
Yeah, it really is, with whether or not we're feeling on track in life, within ourselves, feeling empowered, feeling in control, to a degree, and having a healthy relationship with food and our body. But also, if you're off living life and you're just, shooting from this to that, and you're passionate and you're into it, food is fuel that you reach for. It's not actually something it's not really a companion you even think of going and spending time with, because you're too busy living life.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And for me, I wasn't fueling myself for anything. I was surviving.
Yeah.
And doing what I needed to do to keep, my two beautiful children alive.
And, this podcast goes throughout the world, so I don't know what body sizes are, but how different were you then to how you are now?
Oh, so much. 35 kilos heavier.
Right.
I could barely walk 5 kilometres.
Yeah.
I was very overweight. A size, I suppose if we're talking clothes size, like a size 16, 18.
Yeah.
And just unhealthy. And then my health I started to get high cholesterol. My thyroid started to play up
again
more than it had.
Oh, right.
And I just went, what am I doing?
And how did you feel how did you feel getting dressed and going out? How did you feel in your confidence? How did you feel in your sensuality? How did you feel, meeting, you know what I mean?
Yeah, oh, yes.
Self-esteem stuff.
Well, I think that I had so much trouble getting myself out of the house because I felt I couldn't go and see people I had known before babies, because I was 30 kilos heavier and I was unhealthy and I looked terrible and nothing fit properly and I was uncomfortable. No matter what size clothing I had, I was uncomfortable. I didn't have any confidence, and that was who I was. I was never sort of super slim, but I was confident. I knew what I was doing, and then I wasn't that person anymore, so I didn't feel I could reach out to those people, so I had to go meet new people, and that was really, really tough when I wasn't comfortable or happy.
And, that's compounding your mood, obviously, because your mood was down. Were you anxious as well, or more just a dark mood? Not, I don't mean just, but, more than depressive mood.
I think there was probably more depression than anything, but certainly there was some anxiety there around, I just didn't feel right in me, and I actually can't, to be honest, I'm not sure that was particularly just the fact that I had a lot of extra weight on and that I was unhealthy. It was that I just didn't feel like me. I felt this disconnected mess. So
and I'd love to just pause and go sideways for a minute. I think it's really important that I don't want to give the impression that people of different sizes, that it's a good or bad version. It's really about whether we are a good version within our body for how we're made and how we're meant to be. I know a lot of women who are very curvaceous, who've got it going on because, and they just sort of, that's a good version of them. That's a healthy version of them. And they're really confident within themselves.
And
really,
I love that. And I see that at the gym.
Yeah.
We've got such different array of people.
Exactly.
But they're aligned, they're them, they're who they're meant to be, they're happy.
Yeah.
And that's wonderful.
Absolutely.
And I love that. And I certainly don't think there's any particular body shape or size.
Correct.
But for me,
It wasn't you.
It wasn't me,
Yeah.
and I was not healthy at all.
Yeah,
So,
you weren't feeling good. You weren't feeling
exactly
free to go and be
exactly
do what you wanted
and
to.
there's been points in my life where I've been a similar size to what I was and have been happy.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
me and confident. And, you know, I'm thinking like back at school, grade 10, 11, I was very confident in achieving wonderful things, playing netball at a high level, blah, 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 like doing great things and happy. So what, as I say, wasn't necessarily the weight. It was just me feeling like a mess, like a puzzle that wasn't put together.
And did you have any messages from anyone around you that was detrimental or encouraging? I guess what's the other person factor in your world?
Yeah, I think like my husband knew I wasn't happy.
Yep.
And was trying to support me but didn't know how. Some of my friends from, you know, the part of my life before I had kids were reaching out and were supportive. Everyone was quite supportive of me and where I was. You know, some friends that already had kids were, you know, oh yeah, this happened to me too, and I've gotten through it, and they're older now and it's better. They just have to wait till they get older. That was something I heard a lot. Yeah. And they got older and it wasn't getting better. So yeah, that was a bit scary. But no, mostly everyone was very supportive, and just tried to make me feel better. Yeah. It's normal for this to happen. Yeah. Once you stop breastfeeding, the weight will come off. Once you start, like, oh, actually, no.
You know, as you know, I've got 5 kids. Yeah, 5 beautiful boys. And I've really been interested in the process myself of my body changing. And with every single child, and the first one was when I was 24. Yeah. You know, we can do the math from there, but I can't right now.
I'm not good with numbers.
But yeah, no, with every child I put on 20 kilograms. Wow. Every child. And what was fascinating is they were all exactly the same. And I varied based on my age. You know, there's a big gap between number 3 and number 4. My age, my fitness, what was happening in my life. All these variables changed, but my body didn't. My body went, this is what you're going to do. Wow. And, you know, I had pregnancies where I was more healthy, less healthy. No, my body decided to do that.
That's just what it did.
Yeah. And then afterwards, everyone said, well, when you breastfeed, you'll lose the weight. Yep. Firstly, I wasn't actually that focused on losing weight, to be honest. I was pretty chilled. But I breastfed each of them to 14 months, literally, because I called it for all of them. They were little munchkins. And I didn't lose weight breastfeeding whatsoever. But after that, I did lose it. But and then I basically lost it over the next 6 to 12 months. And my body just naturally said, now it's time to do this. I never had a big drama around it. But I found it really interesting to go through that, you know, over 5 times, you know.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it was a real kind of yo-yoing. Yeah. But and my body, it was just, this is what you're going to do. And I kind of respected it. My body was saying, this is what is a good version of you to protect this baby, to protect you.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and I found it actually quite reassuring. Good to know I'm not too fazed by this, I guess. Yep. I guess I never got too concerned by it. Yeah. But yeah, it was interesting in my body to experience 20 kilograms extra, obviously with the baby. Yeah, and then afterwards when I lost it, I felt so agile, I felt so capable, dynamic, really good energy. Yeah, it was very interesting.
And I mean the same thing sometimes happens at the gym now, where I'll be carrying a 35 kilo weight and I go, really? Wow, I used to do everything with this.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I can barely lift it up and, you know,
it's a lot
do
of
what
effort.
I'm doing with it. So it's crazy to think what your body can do. And you're right, I think your body to an extent, and we know physiologically what it does, it stores fat so you can do what you need to do when you are creating a new life.
Oh, I knew I was pregnant because I had a puffer face. No, honestly, I didn't need a pregnancy test. I had a puffer face. I did.
And your body knew too, obviously, straight away.
There you go.
Yeah. Bodies are crazy things.
You know, they say pregnancy is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's not. Not for me.
No, it wasn't for me either. No. That may have been the biscuits, though. I'm not sure.
Okay, so tell me what happened? What turned the corner for you? Or talk to me.
There was a moment. So my daughter didn't sleep. Right. At all. Well, she slept for maybe an hour or 2 a night. So really? I would spend most of my first 18 months with my daughter was sitting in a chair. And
wow, that's quite torturous.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
And that wasn't helping with my mood either. I was always tired.
So you're tired, so I need energy, I'll eat food.
Yeah. And I'm eating all through the night because I'm up and I need to stay awake, and, just really bad habits.
Yeah.
And I was sitting on a chair and I'd seen 18 months worth of sunrises and sunsets from this chair, and I just went, I can't do this anymore. I literally sat there and I just looked into watching the sun, and I love sunrises and sunsets. Anyone that knows me well will tell you that. My Facebook page is covered in them because they're beautiful, but I didn't like them at that point.
No.
And I just watched this sunrise and I went, I need to change. I need to do something. I need to somehow find I have no idea how I'm going to do it, but I need to get healthy because my family needs me. More importantly, I need to be healthy. And I need to find out who I am, and I need to somehow get back to that because I liked that person and that person's gone, and I need to get them back.
At that stage, it felt gone.
Yes, it was just hiding. Yeah. And I watched that sunrise and I said, when I am able to get up, make the choice to get up at a sunrise and do something for myself and try and fight back from this, I'm going to do it.
So that's interesting language, fight back.
I felt like I felt like it was going to be a fight.
Yeah.
It was a lot of effort to get down to where, maybe it wasn't a lot of effort, I don't know. It felt like at times it was tough to fall to where I'd fallen to.
Yeah.
And that was tough to every day live with. And I thought, look, I've got to try because I can't keep living like this. And I'm only, 32 at that point, or 31.
A lot of people get a wave of determination. Going and putting it into action is a second. A third is to maintain, obviously. So what did you do and how did you maintain your motivation?
Well, it took me another 12 months from that day to come good on the promise to myself.
Okay.
To go, I'm going to change. So another 12 months of bad habits. Maybe not bad habits, but what was getting me through at the time. And then I had a conversation with one of my best friends who lives up in Mackay, and she said, I've decided to start to lose some weight. Why don't you try this diet with me, the keto diet, no carbs. I went, okay, may as well give it a go. Mackenzie's now sleeping now, my daughter, she's sleeping. My son's sleeping. We're moving into the next phase. They're a bit more independent. Maybe I can try a diet. Like that's the least I could do, is try and get a handle on my food. I learnt so much about food. So much. I don't do the keto diet anymore.
Right.
It's really tough.
Yeah.
And restricting. But for me at that point, just learning what was in food.
It's changing your focus, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. And to go, what needs to give me energy? What needs to fuel me? What is going to give me the best chance to actually go and do the exercise I know I need to do?
Yeah.
Still wasn't really exercising at this point. Still walking and things, but not doing anything that and I wasn't enjoying it.
Yeah.
So I learnt a lot about food. I learnt that if you portioned out 10 tiny teddies and I tell this story a little bit to other people when they're on a weight loss journey. I used to eat an entire box of tiny teddies, but I'd portion them out into what the box told me I could eat, and then I'd eat that over the day. So
right.
I'd still eat the whole box of tiny teddies, but in one sitting I was only eating the portion.
Ah, so you taught yourself to have smaller portions
at a still time, eat the entire box. So that wasn't somehow so bad.
In your mind?
In my mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the take home from that?
I think that
we trick ourselves.
I think I was tricking myself to think I would honestly sit here and tell you I was trying.
Okay.
Because I was doing that.
Yeah.
But I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I was doing the same thing, but I changed how I did it. So to me, it felt like I was making some effort.
Yeah. I often have that with clients who come in and they're wanting to talk about, weight loss, amongst other things. And the level of honesty we have with ourselves is quite a challenge.
Oh.
The amount of justification, just this, just that, and they accumulate, which is perfectly fine, but not if you're trying to help yourself and you're trying to be honest with yourself.
It's just a story I was telling myself.
Yeah.
And I believed it. And then once I started to learn a bit more and I started this diet and I'd lost a few kilos and I was starting to feel a little bit good, I went, no, I've really been telling myself a lot of rubbish.
A lot of justifications. Yeah.
And that's got to stop. So there I made the choice, I guess, to stop and look at what I was eating, to learn more about food, and like I knew this already. I knew all this stuff already. I've played sports, but it was just getting through that, and I'm not actually trying. Like I'm saying I'm trying, but I'm not actually trying. I'm not. If I had to sit there and say, "Are you doing everything you can to get to your goal, which is to find yourself and be healthy?"
Yeah.
No.
So we've got 2 take homes already. We've got one, that realization. Hey, let's wake up and really grab life and say, this isn't good enough for my health, my family's health. Let's. So there's that motivation. The second is let's be real.
Yeah.
And not have this, the excuses, the justifications. If we're wanting to be honest with ourselves,
absolutely.
To be honest. Yeah.
And that was a tough conversation to have with myself.
Yeah, definitely.
But it needed to happen.
Yeah.
And then at that point, I really got on track with my eating. I think I'd lost about 8 or 10 kilos.
That's very exciting.
It was wonderful. It was over about 12 months, I think it was, maybe a little bit less. So it was a nice, steady, achievable, I could maintain that. The eating was going well. The kids were growing up. I was able to run around with them again. And then I went, okay, it's time I need to exercise. I need to get that back because it's that meaningful movement.
And you had a previous positive relationship with exercise.
Absolutely.
Which I
knew how good it was for me.
Yeah, and isn't that such an important message when we've got kids, to give them a positive relationship with exercise and movement? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So they've got that to fall back on when they do have these difficult times in life.
That's right. And that's, I honestly can't tell you how I forgot that. I forgot. Well, maybe I didn't, but...
Well, I think there was so many layers on top of you at that point. You'd lost yourself.
That wasn't even there. And at this point, I was still feeling very disconnected, like I hadn't kind of found my people. I'd lost a bit of weight, and then I'd found some people around me had started to change a little bit towards me. Like I'd started to achieve what I was trying to achieve, and they sort of, that support level kind of started to go away. Like I wasn't poor. It wasn't poor Jess. She's depressed and overweight and unhealthy. It was, Jess is actually starting to achieve what she wants to achieve. And I found some of those relationships that maybe had been quite strong through that 5-year sort of period started to be a little bit more effortful.
That's peculiar.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, what, were they comfortable when you were not in a good spot?
Yeah.
And then as you were achieving and you were really thriving, they were threatened, or...
I honestly don't.
Okay.
I honestly don't really know, but that is a theme that has continued. So as I walked into Fierce Fitness, with a friend, to try. It's like, come to this gym. It's great. I've been going for ages. You'll love it. You'll fit in. It's awesome. And I walked in, and I didn't know what. Like I walked in, and the people were amazing, and I thought that like this. Yeah, these guys are cool. I like these people, but I don't know how to lift weights, and I don't know how to do any of the stuff these people are doing. I'd never done it. I've done a lot of cardio and things in the past, but I'd never done this sort of weight stuff. But I liked the people, and for me, that I think I needed maybe the connection as well as the exercise. Yeah. And I've been to many big gyms and things, and people have never known my name. You're a number. You come in, you do your thing, you leave. And again, it was that, I've done this in the past, maybe I'll go back to doing that. But that had never worked in the past either, because I'd go and do half an effort of a workout that didn't do anything, and then I'd leave again.
And tell me, I mean, you're absolutely right. You need to feel a connection with the gym you go to, and this is where you now work, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so this is a gym here in Toowoomba.
Yes.
Yep. In Queensland, Australia, everybody. Okay, we were talking about that earlier.
We were.
You absolutely need to feel very connected and comfortable. So can I ask, a lot of people talk about how they feel too self-conscious to exercise.
Oh.
I really hear that a lot.
Yep.
And that's a real issue, because you're not comfortable, you're not confident yet, but you're wanting to get out and exercise, and it's the chicken and the egg.
Absolutely.
So how did you go with that?
I was so uncomfortable when I walked into that gym. It took me 5 minutes to realise that no one actually was looking at me.
They're all thinking about themselves.
No one actually really cared if I had Lorna Jane or Lululemon or Target activewear, because that was the other thing. I don't have any clothes to wear. I don't have the shoes.
Oh, you should see me. I look like I do wear my gardening clothes when I exercise.
That's absolutely fine.
I don't. Oh, not quite. Almost. Almost.
I think I might need to see a picture of this.
I'm pretty relaxed. Pretty relaxed.
But that was something that, and I walked in, and the class that I was in happened to have quite a few people that were incredibly fit. And I looked at them and I went, whoa. And, you know, it's not only the fact that I feel very uncomfortable, I'm not actually sure what person I'm projecting here, because I'm still not quite me. I still don't feel like I'm me, but I'm not actually sure who I am. All these people are fit, they're doing these movements I don't know. It honestly took me, as I said, 5 minutes to go, actually the only person looking at me is the trainer, and that's because I've got no idea what I'm doing, and it's her job to tell me what I'm doing. And yeah, no one cared what I look like.
And so when you went back the second time, how did you feel?
I was still really anxious,
Yeah.
still worried, and it was a boxing class this time, so
Right.
I got retired from that. That's a running joke I tell everyone now too. I got retired from my first boxing session because I was terrible.
How do you get retired from?
You get asked to watch.
Oh,
But that was more that I didn't know my left from right. As it turns out, at 30-something, my left and right were not things that I knew.
that's beautiful. I think that's beautiful.
Come a long way.
Wow. So you got kicked out of boxing. I got kicked out of Sunday school.
No,
As a kid.
Okay, I didn't get kicked out. I got asked to sit and
I
watch.
asked too many questions.
Oh, I do that too. I love asking questions. I need to know why about everything.
Oh, I know. So you got kicked out of you didn't get kicked
No.
out. You got asked to sit down
Yeah,
because you could learn from watching?
yeah.
Or
I
you
just needed
wouldn't
that.
hurt anyone?
Oh, definitely I wasn't. Maybe I was going to hurt someone. I don't know.
yeah.
I'm not sure.
Well,
But
there you
it's a
go.
funny story. So whenever someone new comes now, I say, oh, well, you haven't been retired on day one, so you're doing better than I did.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you know, the third time, fourth time. When did you just turn up and go, okay, I'm okay?
It's probably about 6 weeks in, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah,
I'd gotten to know a few people. I'd started to go, and I was only going once. So this was the other thing for me. I did it so gradually. I didn't just jump in and go, I'm going to train 7 times a week, 2 times every day, blah, blah, blah. Like my son had gone to school. I only had my daughter, and so I was a little bit free. I was back at work at this point too. So I went, I'm just going to start one early morning. So my sunrise promise came to fruition. I went once a week. And then I really started to enjoy it. So then I upped it to 2, and then I went to 3, and I got to know people. I got to know the community, and my body started to change as well. And I just started to go, these people accept me. Like even when I'm not actually the best version of myself, I don't can't even tell you what I'm about. But these are the people that are accepting me just how I am. It doesn't matter if I turn up a mess or if I turn up completely put together. I don't care. You turn up.
Wonderful.
That's all they ever wanted.
Yeah, and there you are trying to find out who you are and connect with your confidence, and you've got this community that's celebrating
that
your
supports that.
Yeah.
And from there, it's just gone from strength to strength, really.
So when did you feel confident in your body?
Probably about 3 years ago, to maybe 2 years ago. I'd been at the gym for about 12 months, and I'd lost, probably about 20, 25 kilos by that point. I'd started to get some muscles, started to get good at some of the gym movements.
Yeah.
I fell in love with it.
Figured out your right and your left?
Passion. Yeah, right and my left. Well, some would attest that I still don't know that. I also can't count reps very well either still, but that's okay. Look, work in progress.
As long as we're laughing, we're good.
Absolutely. So, yeah, it was probably that, 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Where I started to, I'd never joined the gym to become what I look like now. I just needed to do something, and this was almost the bonus, because in that time I found something I was passionate about. I found something that I could throw some energy into. My family could come with me.
Yeah.
So I could bring the kids, and they're seeing me move. And we were talking about before that, knowing, like our kids knowing that movement is positive. It's not a punishment. So they come and they do it with me. Yep. There's other kids there. I started to make friends. So I said that group of friends that I'd had and some of my support network, the more I achieved, they actually ended up sort of almost turning at a point to where a lot of them aren't even in my life anymore.
That's I mean, I don't know the backstory. That's peculiar.
Yeah, so like the more I went and did, and that's when we were saying before, talking about the title, and so people say you've transformed. I'm not sure I did. I think I just found myself again. Yeah. And then I went, no, this is who I am, and it feels right.
Yeah.
like inside me is calm. Despite whatever else is happening outside, my heart and inside me is calm, and I'm living the way I want to live, and I'm living what feels right for me.
Yeah, that's wonderful, because earlier on, and just to go back, we were talking about how when people lose weight, people use the language of, it's a real transformation, and that didn't resonate with you. It's
Not
like,
at
no,
all.
I was always here, I was just lost.
Absolutely.
And I had to go digging, and I had to go find myself and reconnect, and then get, be strong on your own, your own feet.
That's right. And I suppose some of the people that have fallen away from life, or that we've grown apart, have been, oh, you've changed. And I go, well, I don't know if I have. I mean, I guess maybe I have changed, but again, I've just come back to me, and that wasn't the version of me that you knew.
So they met you when you were not in a good place.
That's right.
There was some sort of, I don't know, connection, familiarity with you at that point, and then you've kind of come back to your confident self, and it's a different expression of you.
Happy and positive, and we all often laugh, there's rainbows and unicorns in the land that I live in. Because it's a positive place.
Yeah. And we can't comment on other people's reactions to that, because that's their stuff, and everyone's different.
And I don't control. And that's what I think I've learnt, is that I'm showing up to the world calm in who I am, and that's all I can control. And other people, I can't control that. But if they're not for me, or they don't think I'm for them, that's okay. It hurts. So
tell me, you're working at the gym now.
Yep.
So that would have been interesting, going from being the the member to being the person who's the trainer.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
I love it.
Yeah, I can see that. You're an energetic bunny.
If you'd asked me 5 years ago, I would have laughed at you. You're going to be a gym trainer one day. Really? Okay. But yeah, I love it. I suppose the reason I've done occupational therapy is because I like helping people, and I like being able to help people when they need it the most. And I get to do that here in a different way. And I get, I see people come in who want to make a change and who are struggling to turn up, and I see me all those years ago, and I think, gosh, if I hadn't have had the people to help me, which were at the gym, and were, my husband and some of my friends that are still here in my life, they're still here on earth, but still actively part of my life. If I hadn't have those people, or someone that understood. Sure.
And do you so when people come along and they're struggling with weight, and they're on their pathway figuring that out, it's beneficial that you've also experienced that?
I think so. I think just that empathy and understanding of, some people don't even know that I was that person.
Yeah.
So I suppose I don't force my story on anyone, but when we start talking and talk about goals and about what you want to achieve, and why you're unhappy, or what's brought you to the gym, those sort of stories naturally come out. So I think I can just connect with people.
Yeah.
And go, well, yes, I was there. And I don't have a recipe for success, unfortunately. Otherwise I could probably sell it or something, couldn't I? I'm not sure. But I think everyone's different. But it's just that,
I think we all have to join our dots.
Oh, absolutely.
And the dots are different. The time frame's different. They have to be internal realizations. We have to really figure out what's happening for us, what's going wrong.
That's right.
And also, comfort eating being a coping mechanism, we have to look at what we're coping, what stress we're trying to cope from, and also we need to replace it with a whole host of other coping mechanisms as well, which can be taking pride in your body, it can be taking pride in movement, and obviously a whole host of other positive things.
Absolutely.
So replacing with other coping mechanisms.
And I think that's beautiful. It's looking at what wasn't working and trying to find something that I was passionate about, or that anyone is passionate about if you're finding it for you.
Yeah.
And replacing it with something that's positive.
Yeah. I really think the key is understanding. Understanding yourself. What's happening for you, what's going wrong, what do you need to make it go right, and also being really real with yourself. Did you like that? Really real?
Yes, really real. Really real.
With yourself.
Honest.
Yeah, there you go. With regard to, excuses you're making, and, danger zones that you're falling into, just I'm currently procrastinating. Let's be real about that.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of psychology, obviously, to weight loss. It's enormous, and the process of learning about yourself. Not only do you come out with a healthy body, but your level of self-awareness is such a great launch pad for so many other areas in life.
That's so true.
So it's got this wonderful ripple effect.
Yeah, and that's why we've said, lost the weight, but the gain I've had as a person, like I can't even measure it.
It was a good title, Weight Loss, a story of enormous personal gain.
And it's hard work, and that's the thing. You just have to be honest, and you have to be prepared to put in the work, because it's hard. But I always say it was harder to be the person I was than anything I've had to.
It's harder to get it wrong than to get it right.
Oh,
yeah.
I like that.
There you go.
I like that.
Shall we wrap up on that nice
Sounds good.
Now, okay, and I really do appreciate you coming along, hey.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's been good to talk. I've enjoyed it.
Yes, it's a good topic. All right, everyone. If you want to find me, my website is kirstenhunterauthor.com. My Facebook page is Kirsten Hunter Author. Instagram handle, Kirsten Hunter Author. I'm on Twitter, Kirsten Hunter AU. And YouTube channel, help me, Psych in Your Car. Have you watched that?
I have.
Have you?
I have.
What would you think?
I like it.
Bit of pressure. You have to say you liked it at this point.
I like it. It's relaxed.
You are being recorded. It is very relaxed.
It's relaxed.
It's very
and
me.
That's good. I like that.
Yes. And we've got more podcast episodes being dropped every Sunday. So this is Signpost for Living with Dr. Kirsten Hunter. And we would love you to subscribe, jump on and leave a review, or areas. I'd love ideas about psych areas that you want us to cover, because, we can have a look and see what we can do about that. So thanks so much for coming, Jess. I really appreciate it.
It's been fun.
Yes, it has.
I liked it.
Take care, darling.
Will do. You too.
See ya.